In this lesson, we're going to discuss placing text from word processing applications. If you'd like to follow along, go under your File menu to Open, and in the Working Files, go into Chapter number 5, Placing Text, and just click Open. Now, this document has been set up with certain things that are already done. Like, for instance, if I go to my selection tool and click on this text frame, you can see there's a pre-existing primary text frame. You may remember from when we set up documents in a previous lesson, there was an option called primary text frame. That's a text frame that's on a master page that is for the primary text flow of your document. So it allows on your regular document pages text to flow from page to page to page. I'm going to click off of that frame to deselect it. Now, how do we place text? If you go to File, Place, and find your Microsoft Word file, which is called MS Word Text to Import.rtf. Now, before hitting Open, I just wanted to point out that there's an option to show import options that you can check. Now, I never check that because I always forget to uncheck it the next time I'm placing either text or an image. So rather than go through seeing import options every time I'm bringing something into my layout, I don't check that. Instead, I use a keyboard shortcut. I hold down my Shift key and then click on Open. That brings me into my RTF import options. And the name of this particular file is MS Word Text to Import.rtf. The first section has to do with what is going to be included in the text that's coming in. Anything that's checked here will come in with this text, including by default tables of contents, index text, and footnotes and endnotes. If I didn't want that kind of text coming in, I could simply uncheck it. The next section is called Options. By default, what it's doing is any place that there's quotes in the text, it's automatically going to convert those quotes to typographer's quotes. Typographer's quotes are the curly Q quotes. If you uncheck that, it would bring in straight quotes, which are actually inches and feet marks. So you want to leave that checked. Now, the first option in formatting is what I usually recommend, which is remove styles and formatting from text and tables. It's the easiest way to avoid problems with the text that are coming in. We will talk later about what some of those problems might be. And why don't we give it a look and see what happens when I check Remove Styles and Formatting. I'm just going to click OK, and I'm going to get a loaded brush. And you can see when I'm outside of my text frame, I have a squared off kind of icon. But as soon as I go over the top of my text frame, it looks like a little bit of text that's inside of parentheses right underneath my pointer. It's also giving me a preview of the first 10 or 15 words that are in the actual text that is coming in. To place the text, all I have to do is click within my margins on the primary text frame, and it brings all the text in. Let me zoom in with my zoom tool. You can hit your Z key to get there very quickly. I'm just going to click and drag across the width of my document, and you can see that it's bringing in unformatted text. It's just using the basic paragraph style. That's the default style for Indesign. Well, why don't we take a look at some of the other options? I'm going to go back to my selection tool, and I'm going to unplace my text. The way I would do that is to hit Command-Z or Control-Z. And you're going to see it loads the text back into a loaded brush, and then I'm going to hit Command or Control-Z again to unload that brush. The next option is Preserve Styles and Formatting, And there are problems, and we'll talk about those problems. I'm going to go back to File, Place, go back into my working files, Chapter 5, my Microsoft Word file, and just hold down my Shift key to get into Options and hit Open. This time, I'm going to click on Preserve Styles and Formatting from Text and Tables. And you can see when I clicked on that, Remove Styles is no longer selected. And let's see what that looks like. And there are problems, and you see them right away. I'm missing a typeface from the Microsoft Word document. It's quite possible that this Microsoft Word document was done on another computer by a writer that I work with. And because of that, they may have different fonts than I do. So it's missing a font. Rather than trying to fix that, I'm just going to click OK. And I'm going to go ahead and place the text by clicking on that primary text frame. And anytime I'm missing fonts, I'm missing a font right here, it's going to highlight the missing font text in salmon. And that indicates that you're missing a particular font. I'm in my selection tool right now. I'm going to double click on that highlighted text, and you can see it's using something called Arial Black. The style is bold, and because the style bold does not exist on my computer for Arial Black, the style name is in brackets. Anytime you see brackets for some sort of a formatting feature, it means what you're trying to do doesn't work, or it doesn't exist on your computer. The other problem is it also brought in RGB colors from the Microsoft Word document. You have to remember, Microsoft Word is not an application for printing on a printing press. And because of that, it uses RGB colors. RGB colors are screen colors. It's meant for looking at your document on screen. For printing, I need CMYK colors. So there's some major problems with retaining the styles from Microsoft Word. Why don't we undo that? I'm just going to hit Command-Z on a Mac, Control-Z on a PC, and then hit Command or Control-Z again to go back another step to get rid of my loaded brush. Now, let's try the last major option for formatting of the text that's coming in. I'm going to go once again to File, Place. Find my Microsoft Word file in the Working Files, Chapter 5, MS Word, Text to Import, and I'm going to hold down my Shift key and just click Open. The last choice down the bottom is actually something called Customize Style Import. And there's a little button called Style Mapping. And I'm going to click on that button. And it opens a separate window that allows me to map the styles from the RTF document into styles from my Indesign document. I actually have some styles set up in this document in the Paragraph Styles panel. So I can go through each one of the RTF styles and map it to something else. Normal, I'm just going to change that to, in the Indesign styles that I'm matching to, basic paragraph. For no style, I'm also going to use basic paragraph. For something called chapter headline in the RTF document, I'm going to match that to, in my Indesign styles, section headline. In the RTF, there's something called tip heading. I'm going to match that to, in my Indesign styles, heading for tips. Then there's basic paragraph in the RTF, which I'll leave that as basic paragraph. My tip copy from my RTF, I'm going to match that to my body text in my Indesign document. So it's taking all of the styles from the RTF Microsoft Word file and it's matching it to my pre-existing Indesign styles. So this is avoiding the major issue with bringing in styles from Microsoft Word, because my styles do not use RGB colors and they're also not missing fonts. So now all I have to do is click OK. And then in the main dialog window, click OK again. And when I click with my loaded text brush, it's going to bring in the text fully formatted. Really kind of cool. There's only one problem with this. Most of the people who are using Microsoft Word are not using styles correctly. So they might do something like use a heading style and then hit a paragraph return, and now they want to use body copy, which is of course much smaller and possibly a totally different typeface. So what they'll do is continue using their heading style, and in that first body text paragraph, they change the size and the style of the text. So everything might be using the same style throughout the entire document. So because the styles are not set up correctly, the matching will never work. The only time it works is when somebody uses styles correctly in Microsoft Word. So in this particular case, the person who did the styles in Microsoft Word knows how to set up styles in that application. So it worked perfectly. Everything that was supposed to be a chapter head was formatted correctly. My subheads or tip headings are correct. And also, it matched perfectly to my body text. So this entire document has been formatted just by bringing it in and using style matching. So that is pretty cool. In the next lesson, we're going to continue to discuss text and type formatting.